Are you ready to talk about chords? Let's talk about chords. Major chord, minor chord. We're gonna just focus on major and minor for today. But when we start talking about chords, the possibility is limitless. Hi, I'm Kristina Lee, and welcome to Live, Love, Piano. In this video, I'm going to talk about what chords are, how to write chords, how to learn chords, and practice chords. Hi, this is Kristina. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I would love for you to subscribe. And if you like my teaching, please check out my course, Simple and Beautiful Piano for Adult Beginners. Chords are made up of 3 or more notes. They can be played together, like this, or they can be played one at a time in any kind of order. Now, how do we make chords? You start from a note. For example, I'm just gonna use this note C, and then we make chords by stacking thirds. Thirds are also skips. So if I go up a third from this note, is that note, and then this note. And then let's say we're gonna stack 4 notes together. So that's what makes a chord. And if I play these 4 notes together, it sounds like this. So we can actually go on and on, okay? And as I said, you can start from any note. You can start from this note and then just stack thirds. I'm only gonna use white keys to demonstrate this for you. When we start using the black keys, it becomes a little bit more complex. So we're just gonna keep it simple for today. So this chord sounds like this when I stack skips above this note, D. Today, we're gonna talk about the major chords and minor chords. These are also called triads. Tri is for 3, right? So these are chords made up of only 3 notes. So for example, if I take this out, that's a triad. And let's go back to the first one we started with. That's also triad. Sounds different, right? Now, when we write it in notation, if you start from a space note, you go to the next space note, and then another space note. Those are our skips, or thirds. If you start from a line note, you go to the next line note, you add another line note above that. Those are our skips, or thirds. That's how we make our chords. But today, as I said earlier, we're just gonna focus on the triads. There are multiple triads, but we're gonna just focus on the major triad and minor triad. And in this video, I'm just gonna refer them to as major chords and minor chords. How do you find the notes of a major chord? It's basically the first, third, and fifth note of a major scale. Major scale is made up of 7 different notes. So it's the first one, third one, and the fifth one. When we think about the minor chord, you can think about it in the same way. It's gonna be the first note, the third note, and the fifth note of a minor scale. Now, but that's kind of a hard way to learn it because most people, it takes a long time for them to learn all major scales and all minor scales. So at the end of the video, I'm gonna talk to you about my favorite way of learning and teaching the major chords as well as the minor chords. Another way people like to talk about major and minor chords is to talk about how major chord has an interval of major third in the bottom and then an interval of minor third on top. And the minor chord is just the reverse, like minor third, interval of the minor third in the bottom, and then a major third on the top. Now, what is a major third? So this is a C major chord from this distance to here is a major third. And we can figure that out by counting the half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 half steps is a major third. From here to here is a minor third. So 1, 2, 3, 3 half steps is the minor third. Now, I explained this to you, but you cannot use this to learn your chords, major and minor chords. Because once you start counting while you're trying to play music on time, you will never be on time. So I know this is something that people teach a lot. Oh, you just have to know these counts and then you have to flip it. And then there you go. Like that's your major chord and that's your minor chord. You cannot try to learn it that way. It's gonna take you forever. So bear with me and I'm gonna tell you my favorite way of learning this. Before we go forward, I wanna just tell you how these chords are written. The chords are written with letters. A C major chord is simply written with just the letter C, capital letter C. Nothing else added. When you see a C in chord chart or lead sheet, that just means that's a C major chord. And if you see D, that's a D major chord. For a minor chord, you would add something to that. So a C minor chord has the capital letter C with a small m for minor. Or sometimes you see M-I-N for minor. In jazz, you see a minus sign, but that's not as common outside of jazz. So this is just for your own reference. So this is how major chord and minor chords are written. The letter that we use for the chord name is called root, R-O-O-T, root. And that's the lowest note of the chord. Remember, I showed you how to build a chord on top of a note by adding the skips, stacking the thirds. So the lowest note is the root. And whatever comes after the root is the quality of the chord. You can think of it as a color. Like the little M makes it a minor chord. And we call that the quality of the chord is minor. And when you don't have anything, the quality of the chord is major. We also have like diminished chords and augmented chords, which are also triads, but we're not gonna get into it. So all these names tell us the quality of the chord. After the quality of the chord, sometimes we have other things like numbers, like 7 or 9 or 11 or 13. Those are extensions. That means we're gonna have more things added to that chord. And those things give us information about which notes they are. So I think that's enough. That's enough about just like how to basically understand what chords are and how they're made, how to read and write chord names, and that there are multiple parts that you can understand from reading a chord. The root, the quality, and the extensions. Now, how do you learn your chords? First, I recommend just learning the major chords really, really well. Once you have that down, like automatically down, everything else becomes a tweak from that. So you're trying to like have one information that's really, really clear in your mind. And then when you have that really, really clearly, you open the door for all the different qualities and all the different extensions of that chord. But I like to teach my students with the 5-finger scales, which is a video. I highly recommend watching the video, One Scale to Rule Them All, where I talk about the 5-finger scales. And it comes with the PDF cheat sheet for you to learn the 5-finger scales in all keys. And what you play at the very end, those are your major chords. So I'm going to put a link for the video as well as the PDF file. So please, if you don't know your major chords or your major 5-finger scales, please learn them. Yes, you can just learn the chords, but I recommend learning the 5-finger scales because when you learn it that way, this is gonna go a long way. It's gonna open up the possibility for you to understand and play music much greater than just playing the chords. So let's just pretend that you've done it, you're here because you've been watching me make YouTube videos and you listen to me and you have learned those 5-finger scales and you know your major chords really, really well by now. Once you know your 5-finger scales really well, I want you to just practice playing your chords. And this is how I want you to group in your mind. First group is white, white, white. White, white, white. That's my C chord. All white, okay? And then F chord. White, 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 okay? And then G chord. White, white, white. Notice that I'm not even saying G major chord because when we communicate chords, if we say G, it's implied that it's major. So I might go back and forth. Just be aware of that. Whereas like if we're talking about minor, we have to say minor, okay? So I would just say like memorize it, okay? C, F, and G, those are all white. And then you're gonna learn the one with black key in the middle and the rest are white. So D, E, and A, these are white, black, white configuration. So that covers all the notes that start from white keys, C, D, E, F, G, A, except for B. Now B is an oddball. It's white, black, black. Just keep that in mind. B is an oddball and it's different. I recommend just memorizing this, be able to move around. Like, okay, these are white key groups and then one black key in the middle group. And then I have the B, which is an oddball. And then like try to like mix it up, like, okay, I'm gonna like try this. Maybe coming back down becomes harder. Whenever you practice, try to give yourself a little bit of mental gymnastic. Then you're just gonna learn the information much better and you're gonna be able to use this in a much more flexible and powerful way. Okay, so you did all of this. From this point on, you're gonna work on the black keys. I want you to start from D, okay? So think about D, which is white, black, white. And I want you to flat that. That means we're gonna do D flat major triad. And it's gonna be just the reverse color. D flat, okay? F and A flat. White, black, white, black, okay? If you know E really well, with one black key in the middle, you're gonna just reverse that color on E flat. Black, white, black. Same thing for A and A flat. A flat. And then let's do B, okay? The oddball. White, black, black. And it's gonna be again a reverse of that color. So black, white, white. That's my major chord for B flat. So if you're following, you know that I've done these, let me just mark the ones that we did D flat, we did E flat, we did A flat, and then we did B flat. So we just have this one black key left. Now, I call that F sharp instead of G flat because just like we were kind of connecting the information with our white key chords, for this major chord, I connected back to F, okay? So F is all white, and you can think of it as F sharp is all black. I guess you could do that with G too. All black. So practice your 5-finger scales, and then practice your major chords just on their own, moving around. Once you know all the white and black keys, move around in half steps up or half steps down. Or think about going up in more jumpy motion, like whole steps up. You want to just try to do it in many different ways, so you're not always relying on what you did before to know what it is. You want to know it really, really well. After that, this is when you can practice your minor chords. And you can practice your minor chords by just starting with your major, like this is C. And then you flat the middle note. You make the middle note go half step lower. That's your C minor chord. And back to major. I would just like practice going back and forth like this, or major, minor, major. Really put it in your head, okay? So notice that I'm not gonna talk about the colors of the minor chords anymore, the configuration. You can think about it the way you want, but I don't talk about it because I only do that with our major chords. Really, really to like solidify in your mind what those color combinations are, the color configurations are. By the time we start talking about minor, you should just see it as a tweak of that major that you know really well, rather than, oh, it's white, black, white. You're gonna get that confused with other major chords that you've done. Okay, so again, I hope you're okay with me saying this again and again and again and again. So many people just say once and expect you to know it. But I know I've taught many students of many backgrounds and abilities, and all of them need a lot of reinforcement. That's why I say this again and again. Know your major chords really, really, really well first, and then start working on your minor chords. And this might take some time, but if you can follow those steps, by the time you have learned your major and minor chords really clearly, again, that opens up whole nother kinds of like musical understanding and ability for you. So that's it for today. I'm really excited to talk more about chords, harmony. Harmony is what gives music its feeling, the richness of the feeling. You can play the same music that's a different chord. And I'm just playing the same thing with my right hand. You see how what I'm doing with my left hand, these are the different chords that I'm adding to my right hand melody. And based on what I was playing, we kind of go to a different place. So harmony is so powerful because by changing the harmony using certain type of chords, you're gonna take your listeners to a whole nother place. I'm talking to you as if you're making your own music, and that is my wish for everybody who learns an instrument, that they become creator of their own music. And that's why I'm talking that way. But it all starts with knowing your major scale and chords really, really well. Good luck, and I will see you next week.